if you are anywhere you can legally be, you can defend yourself against a criminal. So if I'm out in the street and I'm doing what I can legally do and somebody comes at me and I feel imminent danger of physical harm, I should be able to react with equal or greater force.
I can tell you that personally, as a police chief, there's nothing more I take more seriously than the protection of my officers and the community members that we're sworn to protect. My immediate concerns about this are the fact that we are putting law enforcement at risk, and we are giving a loophole in the law to allow people to take action into their own hands and really having less accountability than we do as licensed police officers with all of our training and all the expectations we have. I also think about all the activities that we do, most of which that are most dangerous in the nighttime hours, when oftentimes we do approach calls that we get by stealth underneath the statute, and thinking about the number of times of opportunity for myself personally approaching these homes, how things might have been different today had I been in that position. I can only imagine the possibilities of being confronted with a homeowner with a handgun because I wasn't stealthily enough, and having to make that decision, do I pull the trigger or are they going to pull the trigger on me first? I don't think this has any benefit to the public. It certainly doesn't have any benefit to law enforcement, and I would just say that I just can't imagine why the author of these bills and those supporters think that this is a good idea for our citizens.
When I was 10 years old, we lived in South Minneapolis on 23rd Avenue. And across the alley, one of the neighbors had a very good apple tree. And so at 10 years old, occasionally, I would sneak into the neighbor's yard and steal an apple from the tree. Now, sneak is an operative word here because I entered that property by stealth, and I entered it illegally to take this apple. What this law does, or what this bill does, specifically under Subdivision 4, there's a section called presumptions. And it allows a property owner to presume that if that 10-year-old kid enters the property by stealth, illegally, the property owner now can presume that that 10-year-old poses a threat to the property owner of death or great bodily harm. And you can see the disconnect there from reality because there's no threat here whatsoever. And based on that presumption, now the property owner can use force, and even deadly force, against that 10-year-old apple thief. I don't think that's the intention of this bill, but I think that's a loophole that it creates. That's one example where perhaps the intention is good, but the devil's in the details. And in this case, and in that specific example, this really does create a loophole and a defense for what I would consider cold-blooded murder.
The Minnesota permit process requires training, and it requires a background check. Other states don't necessarily require training and a background check to get a permit. This bill would require Minnesota to honor permits from other states that don't have the same stringent standards that Minnesota does. And I don't think we want to put guns in the hands of people that we're not sure should have guns.
And it's a remarkable consensus here. It's not just the police officers. It's not just the sheriffs. It's the chiefs. It's the prosecutors. You've got across the board consensus among the organizations that are duly representing these bodies, these people.
All the heads of police chiefs, sheriffs, county attorneys stood here and said they are universally opposed.
Well, I will have to disagree with them. There are many protections in statute already for law enforcement. We're not changing any of that. The Supreme Court has spoken on what law enforcement's duties are, and if law enforcement is lawfully carrying out their duty, you can't shoot at them, and this bill won't change that.